Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Lake Stevens Auto Detailing here. And today we've got a 2015 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited. It's the Rubicon trim level as well. And we're going to be doing an inside and out detail. We're going to be doing a deep clean, taking the wheels and tires off, and scrubbing the brake calipers as well. Doing an engine bay, shampoo and extract, headliner clean, some mold remediation. So we're going to be going in real in depth on this detail here. The guy just wanted to get it deep cleaned so it's ready to sell, and we got quite a bit of work ahead of ourselves here. So stay tuned and get to see inside and out here on the before. And as you can see, the engine bay is quite messy, so we'll need to get that all cleaned up and scrubbed up and everything. And even the upper level foam at sound insulation is dirty. All right, so opening up the back here. Vehicle had been sitting for a while, so we replaced the battery. Um, Looks like there's quite a bit of pet hair and dirt and debris and pine needles and stuff. Typical buildup. And then, yeah, the door panels are a bit dirty. Just more continuation of pet hair. Thankfully, the seats are leather. Headliner isn't too bad in this area, but there's a lot of hair and debris here that we'll have to take care of. And then further back under the seat, there's some sort of like dog throw up or something like that. The front seat area and around the this first row, there's some mold issues. You can see a little bit right here mixed in with the dirt and stuff. And then there's some on the headliner as well. He had pointed that out, that there was mold there, but I later found that there was a fair amount of mold underneath the seat, so ended up having to treat and take care of all that. Um, there's some back there you can kind of see. Um, this thing just needs a good scrub down and clean to get it back to kind of a showroom condition, so the next person that buys it is not disgusted by the dirt and mess and the mold. So I think that'll be the big thing, is just having a nice clean car that you can put up for sale and get the most bang for your buck. Um, for some reason, a lot of people don't really spend a lot of time before they post cars up for sale. And if they're dirty and messy, people aren't going to want to spend as much money. So that's one thing to consider when you're getting ready to sell, or you're even trading your car. Just clean it up. If you don't want to get it detailed, just wash it and vacuum it, give it a quick wipe down. You'll definitely get more money than if it's a filthy rig. So, something to consider. Just to be safe, I double bagged the air intake. Don't want to ingest any water into here and have any problems, so I got it double bagged off just to protect the customer and myself. Already checked to make sure all these caps are on and tight. Air intake's covered up. So just trying to knock any loose dirt and debris off before I go in there and wash with my ultra soft wheel and tire brush, which I also use for engine bay details. And that'll just get a preliminary clean, get that a lot of that junk knocked off, and then we'll get in there with the soapy water and start scrubbing. So we'll just reach everything we can with this wheel woolly brush. I use it on the fender liners when I'm scrubbing the wheels and tires and stuff, but I start off with the engine bay detail if the customer's paying for that, and so the wheel and tire bucket and the brush is nice and clean. And we'll just get all these large areas that we can with that, and then I'll get in there with my detail brush in some areas where I can't reach. Um, Before you start scrubbing with the soap and water, you just want to keep an eye on the engine bay, making sure you're not going to be scrubbing with that brush and like some real delicate areas, like just be careful around the AC lines, electrical wires and stuff like that. Just being mindful of what you're doing so you don't cause damage or bust something off that you didn't mean to. After I'm done cleaning the engine bay, I just double checked to make sure I didn't miss anything, and then I decided on this little kind of sound insulation, heavy duty cardboard, whatever you want to call it. Scrub that too because there were some stains on the upper, and once that dries, it'll show through if you don't scrub it clean. So I keep the pressure washer a fair good distance away. I don't want to force water into electrical connections or areas where it's not supposed to get into, so I just try to keep my distance. Thankfully, the guy had the wheel lock key all set up for me, just in case I needed to use it. He paid for cleaning the inside of the wheel barrels and the brake caliper, and it was impossible to do that with the wheels and tires on. So I ended up having to get this thing set up on jack stands and take the wheels and tires off here. Here I'm trying the Armor All Extreme Wheel and Tire Cleaner for the first time. So we'll give that a test and we'll clean the front face of the wheel and tire as much as we can with this, and then we'll take the wheel and tire off to clean the backside and the brake calipers. So right off the bat, looks like the Armor All's working pretty good for removing some of that browning off the tires and just breaking down some of that brake dust and debris throughout. So we'll get scrubbing and see how these things clean up. I really like my wheel woolly brush. It's ultra soft. You could use it on paint, grills, wheels and tires. It's really versatile, and you're not going to damage anything. If the tires have a lot of buildup of dirt and stuff, you can always upgrade to a stiffer bristled brush just to remove that. But this does a pretty good job. And of course, you can always wash the tires twice if you just want to use this brush. But you can see the Armor All Extreme Wheel and Tire Cleaner seems to be doing a good job getting that browning and the dirt off of the tires. So we're just going in here with my detail brush, getting in the little nooks and crannies that that wheel brush doesn't necessarily get in real well. And then we'll rinse it off and take the wheel and tire off so we can clean the inside. So here I've got a 20 volt impact, half-inch impact, and it's from the company called No Cry. Kind of a foreign brand, but I haven't had any issues with it, and it came with two batteries and the charger, so I really like using it. It's got plenty of power to get the lug nuts off. I haven't had any issues. Of course, I'm having a little bit of problem getting the wheel and tire off, but I think there was a little bit of rust on there. You can see the inner hub there. There is a little bit built up, so sometimes they're kind of a pain to get off there. So we'll get started cleaning the inside of the wheel, and then we'll get the brake calipers done after. So here for the inside of the wheel, I'm using DIY Details All Clean Diluted 15:1, and then using my wheel woolly brush, just scrubbing it out, and we'll see where we're at cleanliness wise here. You can see there's quite a bit of dirt and filth built up, and using a variety of wheel and tire brushes to get into all the nooks and crannies and scrub this thing clean. I did notice after I got this thing all blasted off, I wasn't super happy with how it ended up turning out. There was still some caked on brake dust that I wanted to try to get off. So I used my Chemical Guys medium stiffness brush, and that helped kind of break down some of the stuck on brake dust that just didn't want to come off. So I just needed a little more aggressive stiffness of the brush to get that worked out. And so I'm just working it in, and then we'll be rinsing it off here. So here I'm just rinsing and repeating as necessary to get these wheels as clean as I possibly can. Customer's paying for detail of the wheels on the inside as well, so we're just doing the best job we can, getting them as clean as possible. I don't think the wheels had ever been cleaned on the inside, so that's part of the reason for the baked on brake dust and just kind of the filth and dirt. But we'll get these things clean as possible as we can. All right, time to throw the wheel and tire back on there. I always thread the lug nuts on by hand. I don't want to cross thread anything, so I screw them on quite a few turns just to make sure there's proper thread engagement and nothing stripped out, and I can address that before there's an issue. And then I'll go ahead and zip these suckers on with the impact, and then I'll be torquing them down. End up scrubbing the front face again just in case any brake dust had mitigated its way from the back side of the wheel to the front, and just want to keep these wheels looking nice and clean. All right, do the old kick tire test, make sure the lug nuts are on tight, and drop the vehicle down, and then we'll proceed with getting these lug nuts tightened down to factory spec with a Matco Tools torque wrench. In case you're wondering where I got this card floor jack from, I got it from Costco probably 5 or maybe more years ago, and it's rated for 3.5 tons, so I can pretty much handle anything except for roll heavy turbo diesel trucks. And it does a great job. It lifts up, I think, to almost 20 inches high, and that's been more than I've ever needed. Now, whenever I'm working on a vehicle, jacking it up, I always put a jack stand either underneath the frame or on an axle or some suspension arm that's really sturdy. You don't ever want to have the vehicle come flying down because the jack fails. That would be a real bad way to go. Here, the sun was out a little bit, so I'm just going to be pre-blasting the wheel liners and the wheel and tire a little bit, trying to get some of that debris and gunk that's stuck on there. And then we'll go ahead and spray it with the DIY detail all clean and start scrubbing the wheel and tire. I'm curious, what do you guys like to use for wheel and tire cleaner? Do you use a separate tire cleaner and then a wheel cleaner? Do you use an APC? I'm curious what sort of chemicals you usually use for cleaning your wheels and tires and fender liners and all that good stuff. So leave a comment down below on what your preference is to use for that sort of cleaning. Here's a big difference between just a regular car wash that you run through and automated that just scratches up your paint and does kind of a half-assed job of cleaning the vehicle, and a detailed job where you're getting in all the cracks and crevices and the nooks and crannies and doing a quality job while minimizing any sort of scratch potential swirls when you're washing the vehicle. This is in the nitty gritty, and this comes down to actually detailing and not just a little quick scrub and wash. As you can tell, the inside of these wheels were in severe, dire need of cleaning and had been neglected for quite some time. So we'll do what we can, getting all these things cleaned up as much as possible. I found that Chemical Guy's medium stiff bristled brush was superior at scrubbing and agitating loose the brake dust on the inside of the wheel barrels. I wouldn't use it on the faces just because the bristles are too stiff and it wouldn't want to scratch up the painted surfaces that were showing. But the medium stiff bristled brush did fine on the inside. Brake dust was caked on so hard it was the only way to really make a dent in it. Honestly, what these wheel calipers could have used was a repaint, either painted silver or black or something. But they were kind of grody. But I did what I could. We just scrubbing them with that stiffer brush and blasted them clean as best I could. I'm curious how often you guys typically take off wheels and tires off of either your own vehicle or customers when you're detailing the wheels. Let me know in the comments below. For me personally, I don't do it very often at all. Have you guys ever used the Armor All wheel and tire cleaner? This was my first time using it, like I said before, and I was pleasantly surprised with how it did a good job cleaning the outside of the tires and wheels, and didn't cause any problems when cleaning. It's a non-acid wheel cleaner, but it's potent enough that it does a good job getting everything pretty clean. So now, of course, there's going to be one lug that doesn't want to come off. I didn't want to force the issue after trying for quite a while, so I'm just gonna put the lug nuts back on there, torque them down, and we'll get creative, like I said, to clean the inside of the wheel. We'll work around it. So I've got pretty good access to blast in the wheel and tire cleaner, the DIY all clean, and then I'll lay some cardboard down. That's what I end up doing, and getting in from the other side and scrubbing it as best I can. The suspension and the brake systems were a bit in the way, but I do the best I can since I was thinking wheel lock key lug nut did not want to come off. The one nice thing about having the wheel elevated is I can spin it and rotate it as I need to clean the inside of the wheel and get the job done as best as I can. So that's one nice thing about leaving it elevated. There's a light amount of sun out right now. It's not out in full force. We're going to be dry foaming the Jeep just to get some dirt and grit off the vehicle, and then we'll pressure wash it and then refoam it and get into the contact wash here. Now, there were some areas on the Jeep on the exterior as well that were having some kind of green algae moldy buildup in some of the crevices, so I did have to spend extra time, like on the door window, the bottom of the door window sills, some of the hard top crevices, and some other areas that were kind of gummed up with some of that green gunk. Had to spend some extra time getting those areas all cleaned up. So just went around with my detail brush and then pressure washed in those hard to reach areas and kind of blasted that junk out. Some detailers like to use just microfiber towels as wash mitts to do their wash. I've done that, but I personally just like to use a nice quality microfiber wash mitt, and that works just fine for me. So that's what I've been kind of doing with for pretty much all my details. Curious if you guys like using microfiber wash mitts or do you use towels? And why did you make the switch if you use the microfiber towels? Anyway, drop a comment down below and let's start a discussion on it. Speaking of some of that green mold and algae buildup around the bottom of the wipers, there was a fair amount of it, and then around in some of the seams on the hood and the windshield cowl. So I went in there with my detail brush and scrubbed it out as best as I could. Here I'm about to start my synthetic decontamination or clay bar process now that I'm done washing. So I'm just getting some extra soap on there for increasing the lubricant, and then we'll get into cleaning the entire vehicle. One thing I like about doing kind of fall, winter, and early spring details is the clouds are usually out. The sun's not out in full force, and it's not like 80 degrees. So doing detailing, you're not sweating your butt off, and you're not fighting with the sun, drying up your chemicals and product and stuff, and causing possible issues. So that's one nice thing, even though it is usually a bit colder and things, and sometimes you have to deal with freezing temperatures. But for the most part, it's not too bad. I'm a bit behind on my detail at this point. I think I am into the exterior detail about 3 hours. It took quite a bit of time. I think it was an hour and a half for pulling off the wheels and tires, detailing those out, and doing the engine bay, and then doing the rest of the exterior. So all in all, this detail ended up taking me 9 hours. I wasn't feeling very good, and I started on the detail about 9 a.m. I got done at 8. It took about 2 hours of breaks in between. I was just not feeling very good, but I kind of pushed through and did what I could. But yeah, this detail ended up taking me quite a bit of time. It was an extensive detail. There was a lot going on with it. So it was a bit more than what I would normally do for detail, but I definitely wasn't running on all my cylinders here, so I was struggling a bit throughout the whole day. This dog hair ended up being quite a pain in the butt and the back. It was really kind of stuck into the carpet, so I had to use the drill brush, had to vacuum repeatedly. It just took a lot of time to get that out. I ended up giving the guy a little bit of a deal. I didn't charge him for the pet hair. He was pretty nice, and he dropped the vehicle off, even though it was originally set up as a mobile detail. The weather forecast was showing rain and some snow, and with him getting shampoo and extraction, I was worried about the carpets not drying out in the cold. And since I have a heated garage and shop, I felt it would be a little more prudent to have him drop it off. And I did offer to give him a free ride back home and pick him up if needed, but he ended up getting a ride from his friend and his wife. So that all worked out. But yeah, he worked with me, so I worked with him on that. This back trunk area ended up taking quite a bit of my time between the pet hair and then having the trunk mat on there, and then the carpeted liner in the back, and then just the base kind of floor here that you see. So there was multiple mats and things, and just all the hairs and stuff. It just took quite a while to get this area cleaned up. Definitely nice to be able to move on to the back seats. I felt like I was making some pretty good progress until I found some extra mold underneath the front seats. But this back seat floor area and everything around here, this wasn't too bad. There wasn't a whole lot of hair. It was much better than the trunk, but there was still some hairs and stuff. So it did take some time. And then underneath the seats was kind of neglected. I found some puke underneath there, so ended up taking care of that as well. Obviously, he paid for the shampoo and extract and was getting all that cleaned up. The back seats weren't too bad cleanliness wise. It was at this next part in the detail where I was starting to work underneath the front seats. I was noticing a significant amount of mold and buildup, and so I contacted the customer saying the scope of some of this mold remediation was beyond what we originally thought. So just worked with him on the details of getting that removed and a fair price to pay for getting that. These aren't all the pictures of the mold, but here's a few just to kind of give you an idea that, yeah, there was a decent chunk underneath there. So next step, I just pulled out all the floor mats and get some soapy water on there and use a good old drill brush and get the dirt agitated up and then rinse those off. I really like cleaning all weather mats just because they're so much faster than the fabric ones. These floor mats honestly weren't too bad. Most of the crud pressure washed off, but of course I follow up with soapy water and the drill brush just to make sure I get everything cleaned as much as I can. But I've had way worse ones. The ones that really suck are they've got like hard sticky candy that's kind of glued, and you end up having to use a steamer to blast it off just because that stuff's so crusted on there. But these weren't bad at all. There was rain in the near forecast. I decided to slap some tire shine on there while I had the vehicle outside and could see well. And then I was going to pull the vehicle in to do the shampoo and extraction and the wipe down and things. So just doing the tire shine a little premature. Usually I do that at the end and do the inside of the window clean at the very end as well. But just getting it out of the way so I don't have to do it in the shop is all. There's a few more pictures of some of the mold that I found. You can see it's definitely not looking real good, and you don't want that growing in your car. So I will be addressing and cleaning all those areas. As you can see, most of it's cleaned up now. It still needs a vacuum, but I wanted to kill off and get rid of the mold before I started vacuuming and stirring up any possible mold spores and mold in general. So looking a lot cleaner. This is the driver's side floor area. As you can see, there's quite a bit of pet hair and debris and stuff that needed to get cleaned out. So it wasn't necessarily just the back trunk area, but there was pet hair throughout. But the stuff in the trunk was definitely a little more kind of pushed into the fibers a bit more. This wasn't too bad, but it did take a little bit of time. Definitely used the drill brush to agitate and lift that up. When I'm doing a detailed job, I try to leave no stone unturned, so I try to get every little crevice and corner cleaned up as best as I can. And hopefully you guys like some of these different deep camera shots. I try to keep things a little bit interesting and change things up, even though I wasn't feeling very good. I'm liking the versatility of the DeWalt work light. It's typically for like underhood use, but obviously I use it for detailing and lower light conditions if it's getting dark outside, if it's super cloudy, or if I'm working in the shop. Just I can't see as well. Um, so this works really good. I've got a cordless impact 20 volt, and so just getting the cordless 20 volt under hood light just made sense because I've already got the batteries for it, and it's got two brightness settings, low and high, and it works great. So I really like the versatility. Yeah, you can fold it, or you can fold it in half, or you can lay it out like a light bar. So it's pretty versatile, and you can just use it how you need, which is nice. Apologize if this isn't the best camera angle. With the Jeep Wrangler being a smaller vehicle, it's hard to get a really good camera shot and be able to see what I'm doing while I'm doing the shampoo and extracting. So just kind of bear with me on this. Well, I got the heat on in the shop and all four blowers blow drying the carpets clean and dry. I'm going around and wiping all the corners of the door panels and cleaning everything, and getting closer to being finished with this Jeep, which is a good feeling because at this point I've been working on it for 8 hours. Panels weren't too bad in condition overall. There was in some of the little corners just a little bit of mold growth, just in some of the hard to see areas. So after I was done using the cheaper microfiber towels, I just chucked them. I didn't want to spread the mold to the other towels, and these are pretty cheap, so it's not a big deal to just get rid of them. Cut this video down short as I could. I ended up having just over 4 hours of video footage on there, so I did a lot of speeding up, cutting out, some not even showing the videos of what all I did, like steaming the headliner and killing off the mold and some of the other things. It would have been way too long getting into things. So anyway, we're wrapping this video up here, not too long. We're just getting everything finally wiped down, and we're getting close to the end here. One nice thing about the Jeep Wrangler is it's got a small dash, and center console not real large, so that saves time getting all that cleaned up. Okay, guys, we're finally done after about 9 hours of hard work. Even though I wasn't feeling good, here's the final result here. You can see all that hair is gone, all the debris gone, and windows are looking clean, carpets nice and clean, everything's looking real good. Here we'll go on to the door panels and the rear seats. Everything's looking nice and clean, just how the customer would like it. So there's no more mold. Got rid of the dog vomit back here. This thing's looking nice. So no more pet hair. All right. You can see how much a difference that light makes. Being able to illuminate all those dark areas. The mold's pretty much gone off the headliner and everything. There were some little fuzzies blowing around here and there, so I was picking some things off. But this thing's pretty much done. You can see the mold's gone. I steamed the headliner area and dust and debris and all that. This thing's looking pretty clean. Don't worry, I didn't forget to take the plastic bag off. It's all removed, and the engine bay is looking much cleaner. There's no more splatter stains on that sound insulation. And here's the outside. This thing's really popping. It's looking real good. Tire shines on there. Wheels are looking clean. And yeah, the paint's shining. There's no more little green bits of mold and things on here. So this thing's looking about as clean as it can be for a 2015. And of course, there's a couple little scrapes and bumps and stuff, but this thing's overall in pretty good shape. It just sat for a while and needed a good spruce up, get that pet hair and debris and trash and just accumulation of things that happen over time if you don't stay on top of things. So with the detailing lights, you can really see the paint and it's shining up real nicely. So see the top cleaned up pretty nice as well. Thanks for watching.